Throughout the first half of the 20th century, it was a king among kilns, a ceramic colossus in the clay industry. And like Madonna, Prince, and Oprah, this stoneware superstar was known by just one name, Medalta.
Medalta simply means medicine hat, and Alta is the old form for Alberta. Anywhere across Canada, if you said the word Medalta, people knew that it was Medicine Hat, Alberta.
With an abundance of natural resources, Medicine Hat was perfect for pottery production. They had, of course, a bounty of natural clay beds, but it was what lay below those beds that literally fired an industrial empire.
In the early part of the 1900s, there was plenty of natural gas here. In fact, it was so cheap that they were giving it away. The natural gas was actually the key factor because it gave tremendous heat energy, which the clay needs to be fired properly.
Another essential element to its ceramic success was that this southern Alberta community was a railroad hub of the Canadian Pacific Railway. With tracks just outside the factory doors, Medalta Pottery had access to customers across Canada. From crocks and cups to mixing bowls and water coolers, from dinner and hotelware to bed warmers and chicken waterers, hundreds of products were made by Medalta.
Whatever people needed that could be made from the clay was made at Medalta Potteries.
And by the end of the 1920s, Medalta was producing 75% of the pottery in Canada. However, the clay heyday wouldn't last. Like most industries, Medalta staggered when struck hard by the Depression of the 1930s. Down but not out, Medalta would eventually go to war.
When the war came about, Canada recognized that the Medalta pottery would be useful to them at war. And most of the soldiers went to war carrying a Medalta cup in their backpack. It was clean, it was safe, it was hygienic.
But when the war ended, Medalta would struggle to keep its potter's wheels turning, for reasons which included increased competition from the glass and plastic industries. The end had come for perhaps Canada's most prodigious potter.
The industry was getting old, the factory was getting old, it was time to close down. By December of 1954, the Medalta Potteries had closed.
Today, the story of this Canadian industrial icon is remembered at the Medalta Potteries National Historic Site in Medicine Hat. This first-rate facility is a living, working museum that celebrates the ceramic arts. Home to the largest collection of Medalta pottery on the planet, the Medalta Museum offers a one-of-a-kind experience through guided and self-guided tours, exhibits, and special collections.
Each of our buildings has a different flavor. Each one is designed to tell a different part of the story. A collector named Tony Schlachter donated about 2,500 pieces to us, and all of those pieces are on display in a very unique collector's gallery, which shows the wide range of pottery that was made by Medalta and the other potteries that were nearby.
Yeah.
We have another building that is the factory as it was in the 1930s. Everything is in place as it was, the machines are moving. It's quite spectacular. Another gallery tells the various stories of the pottery, takes you through the process of how pottery is made in storyboards with a lot of product present. We have a working pottery with people working in it, so you can actually sit and watch them make the pottery almost the way they made it back in the 1920s.
With help from the not-for-profit Friends of Medalta Society, the Medalta Potteries National Historic Site is poised to become much more than just a museum.
Over the last 25 years, the vision of the Friends of Medalta Society has been to build a living, working museum. The vision today is to build a cultural district with a heart of clay. It's a very unique thought. What it means is that we can coalesce all the aspects of the cultural community in southern Alberta towards this area.
The legacy of Medalta pottery lives on with the Medalta International Artists in Residency program.
What we do here is we have artists come from anywhere between 1 month and 1 year. They come from all over the world. We're looking for a diversity of cultures, a diversity of experiences, a diversity of practices. And the idea is you get all of these people into basically one room, and they share all of these different ideas, technical processes, and then they go back to their own practices and incorporate them. So I think we're really connecting the past to the future through this program.
Once a household name across Canada as its most prolific pottery producer, Medalta has now been reshaped into a world-class industrial heritage museum and ceramic arts center. A source of great civic pride, the museum celebrates Medicine Hat's clay culture and what it means to be made in Medalta.
I am extremely proud of this community. You know, Rudyard Kipling said in the early 1900s that Medicine Hat had all hell for a basement. And it's that hellfire, that gas that was in the ground, that made Medicine Hat so unique. Well, the clay is part of that. And that whole clay industry made this a wonderful place to be and a wonderful industry. When visitors come here, what we hope that they see is a unique National Historic Site that measures up to the best across Canada.
If you have an idea for Northwest Profiles, send it to KSPS TV, 3911 South Regal, Spokane, Washington 99223. Northwest Profiles is a presentation of KSPS Public Television.